want to thank Khalid El Hakim from the Black History 101 Mobile Museum. He has set up a talk with a rabbi.
Right.
This is recently.
Right.
So, and I'm in front of a room full of Jewish people.
Right.
And I'm asking basic questions, and maybe you can help me out.
Right.
So let's look up the word anti-Semitic.
Right.
Who are the Semitic people? And then we're going to get to the public enemy thing.
Right.
Wow. So I looked up who is the Semitic people, and there's a list of Semitic people, and anyone can do this right now. You can look up who are the Semitic people, what are the Semitic languages.
Right.
Has absolutely nothing to do with any white people.
Right.
Not at all. So in order for me to be anti-Semitic, I'd have to be anti-black man, anti-black woman, anti-black people, anti-Africa, anti-all of the people.
Because the Semitic people
are black people.
So y'all get that clarity. We're going to say that again. Now, the Semitic people are black people.
So I cannot be anti-Semitic. Now, what do they really use the phrase anti-Semitic to do? That's the thing.
To divide us.
Exactly.
Right.
So they put this title on you, anti-Semitic, and then they neutralize you.
Right.
Separated me from the group.
Right.
Say he's a Jew hater. He hate white people. He hate gay people. He hate all white people with freckles and red hair, whatever.
Right.
And they put that on me, which I never said these things.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? I just ran down the history given to me by my elders. And anybody could read this for themselves. Right. So it ain't a Professor Griff hating people thing.
Right.
Now, closer to what happened with the public enemy thing, the brother by the name of James Baum, one of the X1Ws in the group, gave me some information because he was in touch with the research department of the Nation of Islam in Boston.
Right.
Got the information, and we talk about the secret relationship between blacks and Jews.
Right.
It was a manual. It wasn't even a book then.
Right. Wow.
I got it. I went to Kinko's so I can get me a copy.
Right.
The brother recognized me. Oh, you that dude from Public Enemy, man.
Right.
For real. I said, yeah, bro, I got to get to this thing because I was the road manager, so I was responsible for everything. I gave it to him. The brother gave me a copy, but he made himself a copy also.
Yeah.
So that's a violation, but cool, bro. Whoever you are.
He wanted some information.
He wanted some information.
He was hungry. He was thirsty.
Exactly. Okay. When I seen the brother again, dude gave me a box of them. And I gave James back his. So I read it. So now, the spokespeople for the group, me and Chuck, we did all the interviews.
Right.
We sat down. We went to D.C., we were doing the interview that day, and it wasn't even my interview.
Right.
Chuck's interview, he didn't want to do it.
Right.
So I sat down with him. Now, mind you, I'm the Minister of Information.
Right.
I got 2 suitcases now.
Right.
I used to carry with 2 suitcases full of books.
Right.
And so I laid them all out on the table. So when I went into the interview, I was ready.
Right.
First question he asked is
just like this. How we just got laid out.
Exactly. Who controls the music industry?
After paying attention to the
Well, what am I supposed to say? You understand? I laid out the names, the people, the organizations they belong to. I laid it out. Now, mind you, this is not coming from Professor Griffith. I wasn't hating nobody that day.
And was it in that statement? Was it just like was it white people, Jewish people, white supremacy? Like was it more just like you weren't saying a hateful statement. You were just saying. This is who controls it.
I laid out the names.
Right. Oh, so you specifically said people's names.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
People's names.
At that time, because this was, 80, 89, 90?
Yeah, about 88, 89, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And you just said people's names. And
I laid it out, and I showed them the books.
Right.
And I looked it up and showed it to him. This paragraph says this. These people control film industry, TV,
that goes on in
music industry.
And as we know right now,
these are the players.
When we talk about media, there's 6 major corporations that control all of media.
Exactly.
This is beyond the music industry. And this is you were laying that construct down back then and naming names, calling them to the table. But even as we speak, we sit right here today, there's 6 major corporations that control everything that is delivered to you as we speak.
Exactly. So the 6 people can sit in this room and decide everything that we experience as far as entertainment. We watching the movies, reading the magazines. 6 people.
Right.
I laid that out. It wasn't a Jewish conversation.
Right.
It was about the music industry. The first 20 minutes of the conversation, we was laughing, joking, dapping each other up, talking.
Right.
His girlfriend walked in. You were talking about David Mills now. He dropped dead on a movie set.
Right.
His girlfriend walks in, and his girlfriend's white and Jewish. Well, I'm from Roseville, Long Island. We don't have no experience with white people like that. So I'm like...
Except for Howard Stern.
Exactly. So when she came and sat down, the complexion of the conversation changed. It became more... And I'm like... You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A couple of times he even pressed the pause button on the cassette.
Yeah, that privilege starts speaking. And
right. So now he had to change his tone because now the white Jewish girlfriend is sitting next to him.
Right.
And she's getting offended by me calling out the Cohens and the Moskowitz and the blacks and the...
Right.
And I'm like, okay, but still no hatred involved. I'm just laying the history out.
We're just speaking facts.
When I finished the interview... He admitted and said to himself, you know something, this is the kind of stuff that can get you in a lot of trouble. And I'm like, now keep in mind now, I'm in my 20s.
Just like these conversations.
No, exactly. Exactly.
But fearless is. So, and you just saying what you're saying. You speaking facts.
Exactly.
There's no reason to be scared of anything when you're speaking the truth.
So I left that interview with what you just said, with that.
Right.
And he faxed it to the Village Voice in New York.
Right.
Front page blew up. He went out.
There's no fear.
And it's like Professor Griff, anti-Semitic, blah, 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 whatever. And when I first told Chuck, he said, so what? You told the truth. The truth is the truth.
Right.
Everybody's gung-ho. Yeah, Griff dapping me
just
up.
Just what we saying right here.
Hoisting me up on their shoulders. A week or two later. I'm the boogeyman, I'm the bad man, I'm the this, that, the other.
Griff, we got to separate ourselves.
Exactly, and I didn't understand it from someone, and this is the painful part, from someone I grew up with, man, since I was 4 or 5 years old.
Right. Right.
How do you do that?
Right.
How do you sit in a room and have one of your friends tell you who you fought with, who you ate with, broke bread with?
Right.
You know.
Down to
how do you do it? Then a group of brothers that I came up with, the S1Ws, who we did everything together.
Fact.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the Public Enemy thing was Chuck and Flav, who was actually signed. Then it was me and Terminator, the Public Enemy Live thing.
Right.
Constitutes Public Enemy. I brought the S1Ws.
Right.
So when you talk about the money situation, it was Chuck and Flav, of course. Then me and Terminator. And then check this out. Out of my little money, I cut it up and paid them.
Wow.
I know a little.
So it wasn't about the bread at all.
It wasn't about the bread at all because Chuck said, 2 years in, we out. Yeah. We said, cool, let's shake the industry up and get out.
Yeah, y'all wasn't looking for... And that's the thing what people got to understand, too, especially back then. Hip-hop wasn't about money.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And the only place where you actually could make money, because the hands that were they had it on lock. It was slavery. Let's just keep it what it was. But live is where you could make money.
And that's
from the blues days all the way to today.
Exactly.
Where you seeing all these cats with all these diamonds and all that, that's because they getting 50,000 a night. That's because... And back then, it was 1,000 a night, maybe.
Thank you. And we were on a van driving ourselves.
Right, and it's 20 of y'all.
Right.
Splitting up $1,000 a night.
Exactly. So that's the real of it. And the whole idea of separating myself from these cats prematurely that we came up. Now let's keep the timeline in mind. In the 86, 87, the album's out.
Right.
All right, so 89 would have been it. That's it. We done.
Because y'all was only set out to do Public Enemy for 2 years.
That's it.
Right.
So I was on time and I was on point.
You was right there where it was
called
supposed
the
to be.
players out. I shook the industry up.
The universe.
But now I'm the bad man.
Yeah.
Now I'm hated now because I told the truth.
Right.
How do you walk around with that in your chest, Nick? How do you do that?
Yeah.
How do you walk around with now, but because I'm the bad guy in the group, I messed it up for everyone, so to speak. I'm like, whoa.
Right.
This is not what we discussed in my mom's basement, in Miss Boxley's basement in the garage,
right.
at 510 South Franklin. This is not what we discussed. We was gonna get in, shake it up, and we out. And so now I'm here. Well, we didn't want to shake it up that bad. I'm like, come on, bro.
Right.
Oh, so
and it was just a simple conversation.
It was a simple conversation like we're having right now, bro.
And then, you know what, and because this is one of the reasons why I feel honored to speak with you, but I feel like it's so prevalent and so on time, is because what we're dealing with the Honorable Minister Farrakhan being silenced on Facebook and other platforms.
Right. Neutralized.
Neutralized.
Right.
Which COINTELPRO is still active to this day. And COINTELPRO, for the young people that don't know, the counterintelligence program. And when you say counter, it's like because we have so much intelligence and information, they want to counter that by destroying us, by neutralizing us, by silencing us. So what we're speaking of today, because they attempted to silence Minister Farrakhan right now, which is COINTELPRO actions and activations, and they did the exact same thing to you.
By all, you know.
Why? And this is just a question that I have, and even coming from the aspect of if the true children of Israel, if we're speaking of the Jewish community, if we're speaking of the Abrahamic faiths that Islam comes from, that Judaism comes from, that Christianity comes from, all comes from Abraham. And we are all speaking of brotherhood and unity. Why is this division? Why is it such a problem? Why is there so much fear, specifically in the black community, in the Jewish community? And I'm kind of, this is a leading question which I want to get to, but why is it such a problem to speak the truth?
I think it's a problem it became a problem for us because of the propaganda machine. But it's more of a problem for them.
Right.
Because they've taken our birthright.
Right. They don't want us to be them.
Listen to what these guys saying.
Not deeper than that. They don't want us to be us. They don't want you wrapping your head. They don't want.
Wow.
Nah, they don't want. Now because you recognize.
Right.
And now they identified you. Oh man, Nick knows.
Right.
Who he is, and then now the flip side of that, you know they are.
Right. So let's dive into it. Who are they? When we speak of, because this is where it truly is, and we talk about the six corporations. When we go as deep as the Rothschild, centralized banking, the 13 families, the bloodlines that control everything, even outside of America. When we talk about the people who, if we were truly the children of Israel, and we're defining who the Jewish people are, because I feel like if we actually can understand that construct, then we can see that there is no hate involved. When we talk about the lies, the deceit, how the fake dollar controls all of this, then maybe we can get to the reason why they wanted to silence you, why they want to silence Minister Farrakhan, and they want to throw that we are having hate speech when it's never hate speech, when it's not. You can't be anti-Semitic when the Semitic, when we are the Semitic people, when we are the same people that who they want to be. That's our birthright. That's our birthright. So if that's truly our birthright, there's no hate involved. How did this message get so misconstrued?
When we came back to claim it.
Right.
When we woke up and we came back to claim, if you steal my bicycle when we were 6 years old, and you riding around the hood with my bike, and now I'm 12, and I understand.
I want my bike back.
I want my bike back, man. Now you gonna kick up dust.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
And I'm brolic enough to get my bike back.
I know some techniques. Now I want my bike back.
Right.
I'm coming to get my bike. You gonna kick up dust. You might even have enough prowess and cockiness and wherewithal, because you've been riding my bike around. You made connections now, and convince other people that that's your bike.
Now you got a couple of bikes. You got a whole gang. You got a bike gang, and I'm over here walking
right around. So now when I go get my bike back, you done painted the bike. You done put some new wheels on it. It really don't even look like my bike. It don't look like my bike. Right. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So now I'm waking up. And I'm like, bro, I need my bike back.
Right.
For real.
Right.
How do you know that's your bike? Simply because there's documents here. There's
paperwork
here. There's receipts here. You understand what I'm saying? They're showing and proving that that's my bike, and I'm here to claim it, man.
Right.
You have to give it back. So when you start hearing songs like Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I'm put that on pause while they're joking around and not really talking of anything serious right now. And what I've decided to do is go in I mean, since this is a long video, I figured the least I can do is go in and maybe see if I can find proof of some of the things that they're saying. So I'll start by doing this. Never mind that little triple X stuff. But here we go. I'm going to do research on. Well, I'm going to do 12 Lost Tribes of Israel. The original lost. The original. I'm going to do original Jews. Again, all of this is just a distraction. Any debate typically is a distraction, especially if it's the debate of physical. Again, it's all a distraction. You know, a distraction from distracting you from who you really are. Who you are, number one. Everybody wants to talk about the fake place that we're in and us being this fake place, but nobody wants to talk about the real part of us, which is all the distraction. So the original Jews are black is the question. Semitic. Now, I know a little bit about black Jews and all because my grandfather was a black Jew. So, you know, he would always talk about it. You know, he would tell you, I'm a black Jew, you know. He would admit it proudly. So, you know, let's see. Black Semitic. Don't know exactly how to spell the word. You can see what this one says right here. The Hebrew Israelites movement is rooted in black Judaism, a belief system that birthed in the late 1800s by black Christians from the South Pentecostal. Okay. Radical Hebrew Israelites. Hebrew Israelites should not be confused with black Jews or Jewish individuals of color. SPLC no longer refer to these. Go to the next. Okay, unpacking Kanye and Kyrie's condemn anti-Semitic acts, but don't destroy black men. All right, what exactly was anti-Semitic about the tweets and statements of Kanye West, now known as Ye, and Kyrie Irving over the past few weeks? So I guess they was talking about, anti-Semitic, I guess Semitics or blacks or whatever being Jews and all. Black Jew hybrid hate Jews, black, and questions of race. Oxford academics, Africans tribe throughout the continent were constructed as Jews to found out political anti-Semitism. Wilhelm R. came to his hatred of the Jews through strange holy man. I'm gonna be a little bit more direct. Let's see what it says. Same thing, huh? Let's see under images. Well, maybe I'm not pushing on the right questions or doing the right research. And to be totally honest, I don't really feel like it. And plus, this video is going to be kind of long. I'd probably be better off just going to let the video play instead of getting stuck on anything that, again, has anything to do with physical. So I'll go ahead and let the video play. Bam.
How kite me, and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Nah, you can't say that.
You can't say that.
When you hear
hate speech.
Buffy talking about getting paid or getting like the Hebrew.
Right.
You understand?
They want to mute the Hebrew.
They want to mute that.
Right.
You understand?
Even though we are the true Hebrews.
Exactly. So we can't even tell the truth now.
Right.
Not on record, not on television shows, not on YouTube.
Right. And what is, and again, because, and you know, I talk to my brother, Risa Islam, about this all the time, about certain things to where it's just the lack of understanding.
That's what it is.
Because we're not saying anything hateful, and that's the thing when they want to put that on the minister. Farrakhan was saying when even the term white devils or just devils in general.
Right.
But when he was really speaking about the people who devalue our communities and themselves, and that's really where the word devil comes from, and how he's speaking it. But they want to take the sound bites and say this is anti-Semitic, and so how does that occur, and why does that occur? Is that great? Is that spiritual warfare, or is that just truly just us just silencing each other?
That's the psychological, covert meaning hidden war on the higher infinite power healing our people.
Say that again. Hip hop is
higher infinite power healing our people. The higher infinite power healing our people. Well, if it's higher, then it's gonna vibrate
on that
at the highest chakra.
Yeah.
And we gonna connect. Sometimes, you know, you see your homeboy, you up in the club, the music loud, y'all can't tell. You like, you know.
Yeah. Or when it's about to go down, you know.
Exactly.
Right.
So if it's infinite and it's the power that's in us because of who we are as a people, Elijah Muhammad says we're direct descendants from God himself. When that hit me, I'm like, I got relatives, but I got the big relative. You understand what I'm saying? I'm a descendant, maybe from this tribe, that tribe, and that tribe, because I look a little Ethiopian or Eritrean or Somalian. But I'm saying I'm connected to the source. But because I'm connected to the source, we have a higher infinite power. But we can take this power now to heal our people.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying? And then delivering it that way, like the COINTELPRO, like those black organizations where they saw the Messiah coming up in the ranks, they says, no, we have to stop that.
J. Edgar Hoover said the most dangerous thing in America is the Negro, and when he bringing us together. So I want to touch on something too, where we have this problem within our community, and then obviously even beyond the term God and defining ourselves as gods. Why is that such a problem, and why is that so taboo in our community? Because I know you do this as well. You speak about it in your books, and even going back to the 5 percenters, the gods and the earths back then. Why is that such a problem? Even all the way to brothers like Kanye, where you know even if his messaging can get misconstrued at times, but he was even professing I'm a god, and our egos get to that point like you ain't no god, I ain't no god. But ultimately, how do you define yourself as a god, and then why is that a problem?
I think the whole idea of having to define myself as a god is something that I don't necessarily want to wear on a t-shirt or a bumper sticker. I'd rather just be what the Creator created me to be. Now, let me ask just a couple of things so we can kind of contextualize this thing. You have an assignment, right?
Yep.
A life assignment.
Absolutely.
The Creator deposited in you everything that you need to be you. Right?
Right.
You ever get to that point where you're not feeling kind of like you?
Right.
So now you got to be introduced back to who? You. All right? And you got to be reminded of your assignment on this planet.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So Creator, God, deposited aspects of the Creator inside of you.
Right.
The scripture says you're all gods, but you're a child of the Most High God. Sooner or later, you're going to grow up.
ISIS and all that other stuff.
And be gods.
Yeah.
With a small G.
Yeah.
We ain't claiming the big G, just the small G.
Yeah, we're not saying we're the Creator.
Exactly.
Right.
Everything divine in nature is within inside of you.
Right.
This is why when we talk about the law of correspondence, as above, so below, as within, so without, we can look at what we adorn the universe with, and it's right here.
It's all in us.
It's all in us. That's why we can do
the cosmos is inside us.
Exactly. And the only thing we're saying is we're gods having a human experience called Griff and Nick. Right. That's it.
Now he hitting it.
Now what your assignment is?
Right.
Some people refer to that as different things. That's your life path.
Right.
That's what you've been assigned to do. But the thing is, have you accepted your assignment?
Right.
When you find people dealing with this whole psychology of self-hate, rejecting themselves and the divinity and who they are, see, when we hook up, there's certain things that you and I don't even really have to discuss because the divinity in me salutes the divinity in you, and we good.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? And see, that's divine.
Right.
But you see, we can go back and study Greeks, Romans, European history, and they've called even some of the days of the weekend the months.
Right.
They call those people gods.
Right.
You understand? But we don't have no problem with that.
Right.
But the people that gave birth to civilization, you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Yet we can't consider ourselves gods. I think there's a misnomer there, man, and it's like it's almost like
they don't want us to know the truth.
Back to that again. They don't want us to know who we are.
Yeah. But even I want to go back to our community because forget they for a second.
Okay.
Why can't we accept that we are
Because
God?
we've been brought down to the point where we look at one another as just mere niggas.
Right.
Plain and serious. But Wesley Muhammad said it best. The nigga got to die. I'm just gonna say it straight. The nigga got to die. Wesley Muhammad put it out.
Yeah.
Because if the nigga die, and then now we can have this rebirth of the God.
Now let me play devil's advocate for a second.
And please do. But we have to define what devil is. It's the adversary of God.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and there's attributes to the devil. But go ahead.
Yeah, so let me go to the opposing side.
With the little D.
With the little D.
All right, go ahead.
So is that almost the same concept as eugenics, or even when we tap into W.E.B. Du Bois's aspect, because he was someone that was saying the black man has to rise above, and I don't know if it's the same term as like we got the nigga got to die, but is it that concept of saying, yo, I want a purer black man, or the black man has to understand that he is a god, and the nigga has to die?
Well,
isn't that same concept?
Kind of like the same thing, but let's clean it up just a little so the vast majority of our people can understand it. The Christians say what? You have to be born again.
Right.
So what happened the first time? Because God don't make mistakes.
It's one of the biggest tools of the devil. Right?
And all of them people running around in the Bible that never existed, never had Bibles. I don't think
say that again. Say that again. Because really what the Bible truly is just God's experience or man's interpretation of his experience with his God. And stories and allegories.
And those allegories and stories and things were stolen from who we are as a people. Right, that's our history book, so to speak.
Right.
Someone else kidnapped us, knocked us upside the head, put us to sleep, stole our birthright, and claiming that that's them.
Right. So the story of what you know as Moses is really Mesis and an Egyptian tale. The story of Noah is really the poem of the tale of Gilgamesh and all of these things.
Right.
These all come from the motherland. But going back to what you were saying, in that sense of who we are and who we define.
So W.E.B. Du Bois came forth and said,
right about that part.
The black man and woman in America is dealing with this double and dual consciousness.
Yes.
But it's still all physical.
In a modern context, that's code switching. But right now, what is this dual consciousness that we're dealing with? Causing cognitive dissonance inside the spirit of the black man and woman. How do we have to wrestle with being Nick during the day and all the jobs and the opportunities that you have and the resources that you're connected to, but then you got to go be dad now.
Right.
You got to go deal with Mariah.
Right.
Okay? Because they don't know nothing about that. Okay, that's my daddy, but cool, but now. So the dual consciousness. What happens now when you operate in a world that's diametrically opposed to who and what you are as far as your existence is concerned? How do you operate in a world like that and then be you?
Right.
How do I be Professor Griff and still operate in the music industry by telling the truth about the music industry? That's kind of difficult, man. I can't go home and take off and put on Professor Griff to go on stage. Nah, bro, what you see is what you get, man.
Right, facts.
I'm not Professor Griff on stage and then I go take it off or put on a costume.
But there's still a dichotomy, or there's still a duality in who you have
That was the dual consciousness the double consciousness that W.E.B. Du Bois was talking about.
And that even goes back to maybe what was going on within Public Enemy.
Exactly.
You was always speaking your truth, but there's still, we got to know how to play it. This is a game, and you're in it. So at some point, you got to, there's a line that's going to be drawn on that playground.
But you talking about the road manager for the group. I dealt with these people firsthand. The Cohens and the Moskowitz and the... Professionally. And they respected that. That's why nobody crossed us like that. We got respect from the industry from top to bottom.
Right.
Not even central.
From the average kid in the projects who we used to give the tickets to.
Right.
To the executive people, man. I'm talking about booking agencies and promoters and...
Right. And you wasn't acting like a nigga.
I was just being myself and standing up and being a real black man, and they respected that.
Right. And with the respect, there was also some fear because they wanted you to still... There was a line that you weren't supposed to cross. Right, correct.
Man, not only that, but they wanted to put the fear thing back on the table to quote-unquote let me know there's a line that you didn't cross. I never disrespected any Jewish people.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
You know that story.
You understand what I'm saying?
Why? There's no need to.
There's no need to. I just told the truth and dealt with them on a professional level.
So ultimately, are we saying that there's a certain group of people that maybe they're scared of the truth?
I think there's Jewish people, but I just think there's a group of Jewish people inside of that. You could call them Zionists, you can call them whatever.
So let's dig into that for a second, because that's where and even sometimes I find myself
that's why you got
wanting to debate this idea, and it gets real wishy-washy and unclear for me when we give so much power to the theys.
Right.
When we talk, and then the theys then turn into the Illuminati, the Zionists, the Rothschilds, the
Freemasons,
Bilderberg group, the Freemasons.
Right.
And as a community, I feel, and I've done this myself, I want to blame others for the position that I'm currently in.
Right.
And that often becomes when you say the privileged white girlfriend comes into the room and or the apologists or these people come in and say, why aren't you guys over slavery already? Or why are you always complaining? And why don't you do for yourself? Pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. And my people were also oppressed. We hear all of this stuff all the time, which a lot of times I really can't debate what they're saying, because some of what they're saying, there's some truth in it, because we're often blaming and saying the theys. But I would love to dive in real quick, just for the people that are listening and watching, even specifically the Illuminati. Right. When we say, like, to me, I say fuck the Illuminati. I say it with heart so much so, like, man, I don't give a fuck about the Illuminati, because one, that's Roman Catholicism, which I don't subscribe to. Right. I don't care about this illuminated group of scientists that they thought they really they had some information and they were illuminated. I feel like, and I've heard you say this, and I think I wrote down your quoted that we are the
illuminated ones. Right.
So when this whole Illuminati that we hear about, I say fuck them. And I don't care about, because that's make-believe. When they want to say Jay-Z's an Illuminati, and this boogeyman concept, and all these people wanted to say I was in the Illuminati. I ain't no fucking Illuminati. I was like, black people don't even know how to spell Illuminati. Like, I done been to Jay-Z's house. Ain't no rituals going on over there. You know, like, so when I say that, why as our community, why when we get in the conscious community, why when we get on YouTube, we see all this shit of, oh, they done sold their soul to the devil, or, oh, they throwing up signs. Like, I don't fuck that shit. Like, but I do subscribe to numerology. I do understand symbolism. I do understand that there's spiritual warfare going on. But I, as someone who came from the projects, somebody who still got cousins dying in shootings, who still be in these prison systems weekly, I'm not gonna put a they on or say that someone else when I know I'm God. When I know my power, I don't give a fuck about what they got or their story when I know they want what I got. Exactly. So why is it that we tend to give them so much power? And when did that come? It has to be before slavery. It has to be before colonization, because
for debate over this.
Even I've been to the motherland. They're divided. Now, of course, colonization and the Europeans came in and kind of set some of that up.
Right.
But in tribalism, there had to be a hierarchy. There had to be a king and a monarch. And if I want to say I come from a king, if I want to say I am a god, I have to really embrace that and can't say someone else overpowers.
Right.
Well,
I think we need to understand the sacred sciences that you alluded to that we had, that you know that we have.
Right.
There are some people that came in, sat at the feet of our ancestors and our people, learned and took that sacred knowledge.
Thutmose and all
Exactly.
that.
And then, second time, coming back to the continent, plan to destroy and take everything.
Facts. We know the Europeans came in and raped and pillaged.
Exactly.
We know that.
Thus, seeing how we operate and how we move and the deeper sciences that we know. For example, the Dogon. The name of my company is Serious Minds.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But when I talk about this, I'm talking about the Star Series.
Right.
How did the Dogon know that was out there? Unless we mapped that out. Unless we came from that place and brought that.
Beautifully designed.
Okay, exactly. So they came and figured these things out among us, and they crafted this society. And listen, let's just get something really, really straight. We are the first Freemasons.
Yes.
We are the illuminated ones.
Yes.
We are the first ones to establish secret societies.
Yes.
That's us as a people. They took all of that from us and set that up to rule what we call this present system that we live in right now.
Right.
They consider themselves illuminated ones among them.
Of them.
Because they put us to sleep.
Right.
So now
How did they do that, though?
Back to the story of Enki and the Nile and all these pharaohs with these
And we were so powerful. How did
And this
they
is a
come
question
in and do that?
I hear a lot, man. They put us to sleep by taking the very thing away from us that we depended on the most. If I said to you, what is the most important thing that keeps your life, that wakes you up in the morning and keeps you moving and motivated during the course of the day? Whatever that thing is, if I took that from you, would you be able to exist?
Just like the original wolf.
Nah, you
No,
took
right?
my essence away.
I took your essence away, and then what if I fed you the wrong food?
After tampering with
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right.
now you're not getting the nutrients.
Right.
The essence of you was taken away from you.
That's what I mean.
All right. And then I moved you from one location to the other and mixed you up with some people that you can't even really communicate with. And I did this over a period of time in different places on the continent. Because we haven't talked about brothers and sisters in Brazil yet.
Right.
In the Black African diaspora.
That's where the most Africans went to.
Exactly.
To South America.
But the job that they did on us here, they actually put us sound asleep. When's the last time you ever got that sound sleep?
That deep sleep.
You not only need an alarm clock to wake you up, but somebody to come and shake
you for a minute.
And then even when you get up, you're kind of groggy.
Yeah, right.
So you have to be brought back. And then when you wake,
Humanoids have been
woke, as they say now, the essence that they stole from you has to be put back in you. Once that started happening, that's when we said earlier, they waking up, man. We cannot allow that to happen.
And we see that it actually...
But guess who? I don't mean to cut you off, but guess who is behind the people that's saying that? They call themselves the Illuminati. We didn't call them that. They're the holders of the light.
Really?
The light bearers.
To this day?
Still to this day, they consider themselves the light bearers. But now they hide it
Right.
in different organizations and fraternities and sororities and groups and secret societies.
Because I feel like there's, like, even
when it comes
Trump
to God
and this government in America, and we talk about, like, I consider those people the elite. Those are those top 3% or even that top 1%. But I'm not even sure if those are the people, this government, this Americanized government, are those same people that we're speaking of.
No, they're not.
And it's just for the clarity. That's what I want to put out there.
No, they flunkies. They
those
pawns
are the
on the
ones-
chess game.
So, and like, can we give these people another name? Because even when I feel like we talk about the Illuminati and again, like,
Okay, let's demystify it then.
yeah, like, let's really break it down, because I feel like that's where we get it becomes the boogeyman when we talk about, and even like when we talk about these meetings, like the Bilderberg group, which was a meeting that goes on in Europe once a year with the most powerful people in the world, the most powerful people in media, presidents, kings, queens, Queen Elizabeth be there. These are the richest people. These are the elite. They actually meet on world affairs, and where the Bilderberg Group, they housed it and were like, oh, we want to bring powerful people together to show how we can make the world a better place and have this meeting. That's what they say.
That's what they say.
But ultimately, they're saying, what messaging,
domination and world control,
are we putting out there? And then when we go and we speak about the New World Order, I have this question for you.
It's kind of hard to describe.
Why is the New World Order a one world government, domination world? Why is that so dangerous? Why is that a bad thing? Why isn't that a good thing? Why can't we subscribe to say, oh, we just want everyone to come together. We want everyone to be. We want the nations to unite. We want a united nation. Why is that dangerous?
I had the pleasure of having some brief conversations the other night in Brooklyn, New York, at the Barclays Center, behind stage with Erykah Badu. She did a video.
It may have had the
window seat.
Right.
Then she did a couple of other videos where she literally was walking
alternative place
through and disrobing.
It didn't create this alternative
place. Right where JFK was
assassinated. Right. And gunshots rang out and she bled blue blood.
Any place.
See where I'm going with this?
The blue blood.
The blue bloods. So regardless of what we call them, you understand what I'm saying?
And let's see if we're going to go to blue blood. Going back to understanding a blue blood is a European person because they don't have pigment in their skin that you can see their blue veins.
Exactly. And blood is blue until oxygen, the air hit it, and it turns red.
Right.
Democrat Republican Party.
Red and blue. Bloods and Crips.
Exactly. They set that kind of thing, Hegelian dialectic principle.
Yeah.
The opposing forces controlled by the same people.
Right. So then let's go to what it really is then. When we talk about the power of melanated people, when we talk about who we really are as guys and understanding that our melanin is so powerful and it connects us in a way that the reason why they fear black, the reason why they fear is because the lack that they have of it. So then when you see what Dr. Francis C. Wellesley talked about is that fear and that
genetic annihilation
efficiency of when you have a person that has the lack of pigment, the lack of melanin, that they know that they will be annihilated. So therefore, however they got the power, they have the lack of compassion. That melanin comes with compassion. Melanin comes with soul. That we call it soul. We soul brothers and sisters. That's the melanin that connects us. So the people that don't have it are a little, and I'm gonna say this carefully, are a little less, and where the term actually comes from, because I'm bringing it all the way back around to Minister Farrakhan, to where they may not have the compassion or the when they were sent to the mountains of Caucasus, when they didn't have the power of the sun, that the sun then started to deteriorate them. So then they're acting out of fear. They're acting out of low self-esteem. They're acting out of a deficiency. So therefore, the only way that they can act is evil. The only way they have to rob, steal, rape, kill, and
fight or flight
in order to survive.
Exactly.
So then these people who didn't have what we had, and when I say we, I speak of the melanated people.
Right.
They had to be savages. They had to be barbaric. They had, because they're in these Nordic mountains. They're in these rough, torrential environments. So they're acting as animals.
Right.
So they're the ones that are actually closer to animals. They're the ones that are actually the true savages. And then they built up such this I don't want to say warrior, but they built up such this conquering barbaric mentality that they're coming out of Europe. They then said, in order for us to survive, we have to take what's not ours. And then they went into the land that actually where we are originated. And instead of trying to make friends, they said, we want what you got. Because there's this mentality of whether it's the Caesars or even that we have to conquer.
Right.
So I say all that to say the context, and when we speak of whether it's Jewish people, white people, Europeans, the Illuminati.
If they're speaking,
they were doing that as survival tactics to stay on this planet.
Right, because
we never had to do that.
Right, because they've learned when they circumnavigated the globe and they ran into these islands and these places, and we were already there to greet them.
Right. With open arms.
With open arms, teaching them, but then...
But they were deficient.
They were deficient, so they wanted to get what they thought we had, and we did have it. So the rape took place of the woman. The theft took place of the natural resources.
And then that's when their disease, that's where their mentality, because I'm trying to get to that place of how they were able to get control over the gods. How they were able to get control over their
once they learned that, though, and now they raped and impregnated, left and came back, and they saw the child lighter, they said, wow, that's when they learned genetics. Genetic annihilation. So now you have to set up a system of white supremacy to control that.
Right.
So now we have 13 families here, Illuminati that's manipulating and controlling. Subgroups. Now we got to set up organizations.
Coming out of Europe.
You understand what I'm saying? And for that same system, now you're talking about survival, what you just laid out. Now it's fight or flight. Now we have to set up these systems in order to survive. Right. But listen, not just survive to get some damn, some hamburger buns and some cheese. I'm talking about on a genetic level.
On the genetic, because they will, and that's even from the white nationalists to the white supremacy mentalities to Donald Trump himself wanting to build walls. Right. They're trying to keep what they consider purity.
Exactly, on a subconscious level. Because sometimes they don't know why they acting out.
It's just been proven. It was National Geographic just put it out by 2050. Every person will be a person of color.
In a minute.
They saying that's as soon as 2050.
So let me ask you something. So what is the subconsciousness saying? What's the fear? The subconscious said, I gotta survive.
Right.
What do I have to do?
That's what it's been from the beginning with the
how do you do that
people.
How do you do that and show love? I got to take natural resources because I may not be here in a minute. Right. I got to bomb these people back to the Stone Age because I'm not going to be here in a minute because I got to be able to dominate.
War was created.
Exactly, and control and dominate people. I have to survive on this planet.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right. And as you call it, this is a Griff quote right here. Life is living in fear of extinction.
Right. So, and that's what operating on a subconscious level. So they fear. So Dr. Francis Cress Welsing says, when you show up, they view a grown, 6 foot tall, 230-pound black man the same as they do a 4-year-old.
Yep.
Because in us is the genetic material to annihilate them.
Ooh, and that's their fear of God.
It's their fear.
It's their fear of God.
Exactly.
And then for everybody, because I'm bringing it back in context again, because just so you know, we keep referencing, the great Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. Get that book, The ISIS Papers. If you haven't, it's essential. And in Griff's book first, get the Warrior's Tapestry. He says that book, as well as so many others, that everything that we're talking about, like it has been kept secrets, but it's not a secret. These books are out there for you to actually read upon, and they're all facts. Nothing. That's where I just wanted to get to. I didn't want to keep creating this boogeyman of they or the
You have to demystify who these people are.
We got to get to when we talk about who the original man is the original melanated man coming from the place that we call Africa, and which I find this so amazing and compelling that Africa was named Africa by the Europeans, and Europe was named Europe by the Africans.
Ain't that something? I had a conversation with one of the lost boys from the Sudan. And I asked him, do you consider yourself African? He's like, no.
Yeah.
They're tribal.
Yeah.
You take pride in your tribe.
And I just came back from Uganda. And it's so, when you look at it, they don't say, hey, I'm African.
Exactly. They don't. Right.
I'm from Uganda. Or I'm from my family. We call it Africa. Like, or African American.
Right. Now, hold on 1 second. Now, let's look at America.
Right.
We say, well, where you from? I'm from Detroit, man.
Yeah.
We don't say we're Americans.
Yeah.
See, it's the same dynamic.
Especially when you're I'm from Long Island. I'm from this street. I'm from this exit. I'm from Brooklyn.
Exactly, man.
You say your whole address.
I'm from this block.
Yeah, and then on the West Coast,
Same thing with the brothers in Africa.
Southeast San Diego, over there, up through the, from such and such projects.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Same thing with the brothers in Africa. They don't identify with the whole idea that the place was called Africa.
Yeah, they tell you they tribe.
It was more tribal, man. And right now, we need to find our tribe.
That's all it is, the lost tribes.
Exactly.
And it goes back, and it goes all the way back to when you were not being anti-Semitic, because that's impossible. You were just speaking the truth and talking about your community, your tribe, and how others have came and taken from your tribe. So, which I would love to jump and just divert, just originally hip hop, and I love how you define hip hop, the higher infinite power healing our people.
Right.
And you where the state of hip hop is today. And you said something so powerful, man. And I want the people to hear this when you said they killed all the bigs and birthed all the littles.
Ooh, yeah.
And if you think about when you say from Big L, Biggie Smalls,
right.
You know what I mean? Even the idea of then we birthed. No offense to none of these brothers, but the little Zans, the little Waynes, who is my brother.
The little and the young ones.
The young,
everybody
but
was young.
Just that mentality of we used to want to call ourselves big this, and now you want to be Lil Pump, Lil this.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? Is that spiritual warfare?
Ooh, that's psychic and spiritual warfare, man. That's psychological war. See,
and I love the way you break this. These are textbooks, people. Get this from Griff. Like, he got the pictures on every page, and he breaks all the symbolism down, and that's why I'm saying that this what we just said is all in here of breaking.
So the whole idea of the warfare that they're waging against us is on a psychological level. So psychology is not the study of the mind. Psyche in ancient Kemet is the soul.
The soul.
So they waging a hidden covert war on the souls of black folks.
Wow. Which goes back is where our melanin is.
And the whole idea of killing off the bigs and producing the littles is part of it.
Right.
What better way to do that? Yeah. Now you got a whole generation of MCs, rappers coming up. Little this one, young that one.
Right.
As though you will never grow up and grow old and become a man.
You're going to be little forever.
You're going to be little for the rest of your life. So you come on now on television shows sucking a pacifier in the baby bottle. You understand what I'm saying? And we have to understand that particular...
In a skirt or a dress.
And they forgot that sister... Exactly. Right. They forgot that Sister Soldier said, we are at war. We're at war for the hearts and minds of our people, man. We have to understand that, man.
Right. And one thing I want to talk to, again, I'm going to play the advocate of the opposing advocate, as we call it, because I dealt with this personally on a personal level, and I would love to have some discourse with you about the emasculation of the black man,
right?
Specifically in the media.
The
and the only reason why I feel like this is a good place to go, because from the big to the little conversation, because of now is the male to the female. And we got everything now, which is ridiculous. To we got Snapchat filters turning our brothers into. I done seen some of the most gangster people I know put this Snapchat filter on to see what they would look like as a woman, to where like all the way to like, man, if there was a wig and some makeup sitting right there, take the digital aspect out of it. Right. So if there was a wig and some makeup right there, yo, Griff, put this on, man, so I see what you look like.
Exactly.
Would you do that then? But we will do that with our phones and our screens, and we'll send it and we'll post it for the likes.
Forever.
So say that though. In media, and I salute my brother Dave Chappelle and so many other. We've all heard the famous story where he said Hollywood tried, there was a dress hanging in his and Martin tried to put him on, and some of the brothers that I look up to and will forever look up to, from Eddie Murphy to Martin Lawrence to all of these people, have to in entertainment put on the dress, and a lot of people say they're selling their soul, and I'll go all the way back to my own personal story as a kid growing up on Nickelodeon. And not seeing any harm in it at the time in the 90s. Did a skit where I dressed up as a girl. I mean, we in the inconvenience store, and we ghetto girls. And like they wouldn't, the skit on Nickelodeon, they wouldn't even allow something like that to air today, because we ghetto with the nails. And, we really, all I'm doing is imitating Martin Lawrence and Jamie Foxx, what they did with Shanae and Wanda. And all they were doing imitating Flip Wilson, what he did with Geraldine.
Right.
And what our strong brother Richard Pryor was doing in This Way Is Up, and classic movies and things that we seen who we consider the greats do coming before us, but we're not seeing that psychological warfare of they want to, which the Dr. Francis talks about is when we see these images of, because there's a lack of fathers already, there's a lack of male figures, and we understand the black woman is the ultimate creator, but when we are emasculated and we don't know how to be men, and we think it's a joke and we think it's funny, and I see it like now, I don't regret anything in my life, but when I see the 18-year-old version of me prancing around for the joke in a dress, in a wig, I'm like, damn, like, was that me just being funny, or me thinking, yo, this is funny? Where, I'm as heterosexual as it gets, but the messaging that I was putting out there, and then not that there's any, as to each his own, what you do in your bedroom in the dark at night, that's your business. But to me, as I know, was I used as a pawn? As a young boy to make people, I'm thinking I'm making people laugh, but was there a psychological warfare?
All right, well, let me ask you something. Did the laughter die down? Did you grow up?
I definitely grew up.
Now, what would this Nick Cannon say to that one? Bro, look at me though, bro.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
So what would this Nick Cannon say to that one now?
The information that I just said, I would give that, but I would still say make your own choice.
Right, you know the price that you're gonna pay for that though now.
Right.
You woke up.
Right.
And now you gotta talk and speak to that young brother that put on the dress.
Put on the dress.
So when I laid it out though,
but I wouldn't judge that one. I wouldn't tell.
Right. We don't have to judge.
I would give him the information.
This is life lessons.
I would give him the ISIS papers.
Right.
I didn't read the ISIS papers when I was 18. I didn't understand that there was a greater mission to destroy us.
Right.
I thought I was just there to make them laugh. But even if for someone who was awakened like a Richard Pryor, still would say, yo, there's nothing off limits when it comes to entertainment. Like you said, you got to get their attention first. And whether it's putting on a dress, whether it's calling yourself little this, whether it's making a song about shaking that ass, like to when we talk about brothers like Nipsey and his gangbang affiliation and its terminology that may not be helpful on the surface, but when you see the brother's beautiful spirit, when you know my ultimate mission, when you know that ultimately these are brothers that trying to help the community, but we got to get their attention first.
Right. I got a brother, a friend of mine, Black Dot. He wrote a book called Hip Hop Decoded.
Okay.
He said in the book that they take the lowest essence of our culture and give it maximum exposure. You understand? Black Dot said they take the lowest essence of our culture and give it maximum exposure.
So that's why we glorify our strip clubs. That's why we glorify our gang banging.
And it's over the top for many reasons. And you mentioned one, for the laugh.
Right.
Now it's for the bag.
Right.
Now it could be for some other reasons.
Right.
I want to buy my mama a house, and we give it all the excuses and the reasons. At the same time, the ultimate agenda is taking place. We're falling right into it.
Right.
The ultimate
but it's
plan.
always been that, because that's the reason. Like, I wanted you to say that again, because I want to go all the way back to Step and Fetch It. I want to go all the way back to, But
if you went back there, some of them brothers didn't have a choice, so to speak.
Right.
Because of the degree of poverty.
But do we still have the choice now? Does NBA Youngboy, does Kodak Black, they don't have a choice, but because they're living their truth. All they saying is, this is all I know. So
on all of my material, I put my phone number out there and I put it out freely. They have a choice, bro, because they could easily call me and say, because now
but before they don't know Professor Griff. They all they know is the drug dealer and they community. Okay. Because again, as much as we want to say we have access to all of this, the average 14, 15-year-old dude that grow up in Florida, that grow up in Louisiana, all they know is the niggas around them.
Exactly.
They don't know how. Man, I don't know how to work them computers. You know how many times I heard that?
Yeah, I know.
Man, I don't know that shit. Hey, dog, this all I know. I know I got my 40 on my hip. I know I'm gonna slang these packs. Right. And I know I'm gonna fuck some bitches later on.
Yeah, that's the mentality.
That's exactly until you you crack one of these open until you can get the Warriors tapestry.
That's why I put the book together the way I put it together, to speak to that dude.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And
we gotta speak their language. That's why I feel like Nipsey Hussle was so important for us, because everybody, it's the Nipsey bandwagon now. But when you can see, and that's why Tupac, and that's why even P.E. was so important, because we're like, oh, them is cats that grew up just like me.
Right.
They embracing the thug life. They embracing being a 60s Crip. They embraces being neighborhood Nip. Like, even, and I come from the other aspect of it. I came in and like, I don't want people to I don't want to glorify where I came from, where I came from. When you first heard Nick Cannon, like, that's the kid from Nickelodeon.
The little guy,
that's the kid from America's Got Talent that's always smiling. Yeah. You don't know that I come from what I come from, because I never wanted to glorify, because there's entry points from every angle.
Exactly.
So I have no problem being able to sit there and be like, oh, he's the safe one, because I still know my truth. I still know my purpose.
Right.
So in saying that, I can't, just the way I don't expect people to judge me from what they may think of me. When I sit down and have a conversation with Kodak Black, that's not a dumb brother. Kodak Black is intelligent.
Right.
What NBA YoungBoy is intelligent. Now, they may be making some choices we may not agree with.
Right. At the age that they are.
Right. Like I said, at 18, I was on TV dressed in a dress.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you know why? Because 2 years before that, I was trying to be a gangbanger in the hood. And 2 years before that, I grew up in projects. And you know what I mean? So I'm like...
He said this gangbanger shit ain't working out.
Yeah, it ain't working out. Let me square up. You know what I mean? And the people, you know what I mean?
I hear you.
And so... to say that, I see every aspect of it. So I think as what we do, we judge each other instead of informing each other.
Right. Well, we judge one another by the categories that they fit us in.
Right.
If we was to pick our own categories,
right,
you and I greeted one another as gods.
Right.
How many times they gonna let that go out on the air? How many times they gonna put that in a movie? How many times they gonna put that in the educational department?
Right.
And how many times they gonna rewrite the dictionary and don't write us in as